Welcome back to our review session. Today, I'm going to share some questions related to the Roaring Twenties and the New Deal program. What were the changes after the war in the domestic front? And how did the New Deal program transform the role of the government? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Lynn, your online U.S. history teacher with Links Education.
Hi there guys, so let's jump into our review and we're playing the same game, The Millionaire. So let's see the first question. I hope you'll find this easy, but if not, do not hesitate to check your book and review once again. The Harlem Renaissance of the 1920s was a period when African Americans A. left the United States in large numbers to settle in Nigeria. B. created noteworthy works of art and literature. C. migrated to the West in search of land and jobs. D. used civil disobedience to fight segregation in the armed forces. So the flowering of African American culture in Harlem Renaissance shows us the creativity of African Americans that's visible for the works of art and literature. So like Alan Locke, Claude McKay, so you should be familiar with those writers. Next one, question worth $200. Which events best support the image of the 1920s as a decade of nativist sentiment? A. the passage of the National Origins Act and the rise of the Ku Klux Klan. B. the Scopes trial and the passage of the women's suffrage. C. the Washington Naval Conference and the Calabrian Pact. Or D. the growth of the auto industry and the Teapot Dome affair. So for this one, the one that is showing the nativist sentiment would be the Origins Act that were passed acts actually, because there were these two in 1921 and 24 and second wave of KKK. Alright, let's move on to the third question worth $500. The 1925 trial of John Scopes reflects the conflict between A. science and religion, B. isolation and international involvement, C. traditional roles and new roles for women, D. prohibition and organized crime. So it's not related to the issue of the women. Eliminate C. John Scopes' trial looks at the conflict between those people in the cities and the rural areas. So we're looking at science and religion conflict here. So if you guys are not aware of John Scopes, he was this biology teacher who was asked by the ACLU to continue teach the theory of Charles Darwin, and he got arrested in Tennessee. So again, that's A. Next question worth $1,000. Which group of Americans generally failed to experience the economic prosperity of the 1920s? A. farmers, B. retailers, C. consumers, or D. manufacturers. So for this period, some groups were able to experience that prosperity, especially business, but there are groups that they did not enjoy the prosperity in the 1920s, just like the farmers. And also we had the rise of nativism. The African Americans did not enjoy the prosperity as well in other areas, but there was this flowering of African American culture in the city, just like in the Harlem Renaissance, and they were enjoying that prosperity too. But for this question, it's related to the farmers. Alright, so let's move on now to the next question worth $5,000. Which New Deal programs was chiefly designed to correct abuses in the stock market? A. Federal Emergency Relief Act. B. Civilian Conservation Corps. C. Works Progress Administration. Or D. Securities and Exchange Commission. Now guys, I think you might be wondering, there are just many alphabet agencies in the New Deal program. Unfortunately, we need to be familiar with them if we can really memorize it much better. So there are actually the 3 R's of FER: relief, recovery, and reform. And the stock market's problem was addressed by D, Securities and Exchange Commission. Okay, moving on to the next question worth $10,000. A lasting result of the New Deal in the United States has been the A. Reduction of the national debt. B. Control of stock prices by the federal government. C. Joint effort of business and labor to strengthen the presidency. Or D. Assumption by the federal government of greater responsibility for the nation's well-being. Well, for this one, the long-lasting effect of that New Deal program was that the government had finally taken the responsibility to help the people and provided social security and social welfare. And our answer here is D. Let's look at now the next question worth $10,000. A major effect of the National Labor Relations Act, Wagner Act 1935, was that labor unions, so you have the clue here, this one's related to the workers, but the answer must be related to, this group. A, were soon controlled by large corporations. B, experienced increased difficulty in gaining new members. C, obtained the right to bargain collectively. And D, lost the right to strike. So if it's an assistance to the workers, the negative answers must be eliminated. Like, for example, D and B and A, like these 3 are actually all negative. So C is showing the positive assistance for the workers, and therefore our answer is C. Alright, let's look at the next question worth $25,000. Which New Deal reforms most directly targeted the basic problem of the victims of the Dust Bowl? A. Guaranteeing workers the right to organize and bargain collectively. B. Regulating the sale of stocks and bonds. C. Providing farmers low-cost loans and parity payments. D. Raising individual and corporate income tax rates. So the New Deal reform, let's see, targeted the basic problem of the victims. The victims of the Dust Bowl, they're the farmers, and so we need to choose the answer that's related to the farmers, and that's D. You see that? All right, let's look at the next question worth $50,000. Critics charged that New Deal policies favored socialism because the federal government A. took ownership of most major industries. B. Favored farmers over workers and business owners. C. Increased its responsibility for the welfare of the economy. D. Declined to prosecute business monopolies. And our answer is, can you guess? It's C. This one is actually related to the previous question. Next question worth $10,000. New Deal programs such as the Civilian Conservation Corps, or CCC, and the Works Progress Administration, WPA, were primarily intended to help A. jobs? B. Homeowners, C. Businesses, or D. Unemployed workers? And of course, this is a New Deal program. One of the R's of FDR was the relief. So this one should go to D. Unemployed workers. Alright, last 3 questions, and this one's for $250,000. In addition to putting young men back to work, a principal purpose of the Civilian Conservation Corps was to A. Limit population growth. No, that's not the answer. B. Help young married couples buy homes on easy mortgage terms. Obviously not. This is about conservation. C. Promote reforestation and land conservation. This is it. There's your keyword. And D. Provide an interracial living experience to promote harmony. So I just want to finish reading it. But anyway, our answer here is C. Alright, last 2. Let's find and check if this is easy. Dr. Francis Townsend gained notoriety as a critic of the New Deal with his A. Share the Wealth program, B. $200 per month pension plan for the elderly, C. National Union for Social Justice, D. Running for president against Roosevelt in 1936. So there were those demagogues and critics of the New Deal, and Dr. Francis Townsend had proposed to help the elders. So this one should go to B. The answer is B. Alright, we're down to the last question. During the New Deal, blacks became strong supporters of the Democratic Party. A. Most believed that Roosevelt fought aggressively for civil rights. B. Roosevelt supported legislation to make lynching a federal crime. C. The New Deal relief agencies included blacks as recipients. D. Roosevelt tried to persuade Congress to ban the poll tax. Well, for this particular question, it would have been great if Roosevelt passed that bill against lynching, a bill that would stop discrimination and killings of the blacks. But since he didn't really want to infuriate the Southerners, this one was not passed by Roosevelt. So the primary reason why the blacks were simply liking and they voted and transferred their support to the Democrat was that they were included in the New Deal program for that simple reason. So we're going to pick C here. Alright, we're done with our review. I hope that you've learned something today, and make sure that constantly read your book. So join me once again in the next review, and that's it for now. Goodbye.